everyone. Welcome to Feed Strategy Chat. I'm your host, Jackie Remke, Editor-in-Chief of Watts Feed Brands and Feed Strategy Magazine. This edition of Feed Strategy Chat is brought to you by BinCentury, an ag tech leader in animal feed data precision and management. BinCentury's mission is to build the feed mill of the future to support supply chain efficiency, worker safety, and environmental sustainability. Through its innovative 3D optical sensors and advanced software technology, BinCentury is automating feed inventory tracking and decision-making and helping feed mills and producers improve employee safety, profitability, and sustainability as they work to provide high-quality protein for a growing global population. Today, we're talking to Ben Allen, CEO of BinCentury. He's an ag tech leader with a track record of rapidly generating revenue in fast-evolving business and economic environments. He is here to explore how high feed data precision can reduce costs dramatically and improve operational efficiency as feed manufacturers face a new challenging year. Hi, Ben. How are you today?
I'm well, Jackie. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. Well, let's get right into it. So feed producers generally rely on customers to place feed orders or live operation managers to send in feed inventory information. What issues does this current manual system create for the feed mills?
Yeah, feed mills work really hard to have the best data available. Unfortunately, most of it's manually procured. So we've got people climbing ladders to peer down into bins. We hit them with hammers on the side. We estimate in different ways what we think the feed consumption is going to be and what our inventories are. But unfortunately, we've reached the limit of what we can do with the data accuracy with these manual processes. The inaccurate data backs up and creates expenses at the feed mill. It forces them to be more reactionary. When they get data from the field, they don't know how precise it is, so it's hard to dial in their delivery schedules or their manufacturing schedules and their changeovers from one product to the other. It's also hard to reduce overtime or weekend labor because they're always playing catch up and reacting to what's happening in the field with inaccurate data. We're working very hard with that. We're good in the industry at being able to know what the averages are. It's just that the next step of cost reduction from a feed perspective is about having significantly better data about what's happening with feed consumption at the barn sites.
Very good. Now, is this different for retail feed mills as opposed to feed mills operated by integrators?
Retail feed mill, obviously, you're trying to keep a lot of customers happy and receiving orders for all kinds of different feed. You have a lot of SKUs to manage. If you're an animal integrator, fewer SKUs, fewer types of feed, but you're also moving heavy volumes and trying to keep those animals fed and happy in both cases. And in both cases, not having great data creates more expenses, more weekend hours, more changeovers for product that you didn't expect when you get an ASAP order for a Sunday afternoon, for instance, and more miles driven. Transportation's expensive. Finding drivers is hard to do, especially on Sunday shifts. For the industry, that's a real challenge. But it's hard to get away from those reactionary policies to keep the customers happy and the animals fed if you can't see out there and see exactly what the inventories are. It's the difference between knowing you can put 12.5 ton into a bin versus I think maybe we can do 10. Those little differences in the data and the delivery schedules and the management practices add up to significant costs over the long haul of a year.
Right. How can companies for better data and better visibility at the barn sites?
We've kind of pushed the manual processes as far as they can go. We know in general what animals should eat. We know what our averages should be, but the averages just aren't good enough for us anymore. You can install scales, but that's heavy CapEx and doesn't necessarily come with the software tools, or you can use BinCentury. We've got the industry leading optical sensor. We literally map the surface of feed, the inventory inside of the bin, so you can see if you've got a maintenance issue where feed is hanging up. And we do it with scale-like accuracy. So you can trust the data and have the tools to know that from any laptop in the office, you can check into any bin and know more about what's going on in that bin than the people that are at the site actually working with those animals.
How does this visibility affect operations at the mill?
Well, there's a real change from when all the data is coming from the field and it's less accurate because of the manual processes to knowing exactly what's happening in the field from any laptop. It means that all of a sudden the staff at the mill that handle these orders have better data than the people that are working at the barn sites. That's a huge shift in terms of who has the best data. But the mill needs that data. They need to be able to know what feed has to be where, when it needs to be there, how to balance their truckloads so that they're reducing miles driven, they're reducing ASAP orders and surprises because that creates changeovers in the mill manufacturing. And they're also really dialing in the precision with which they can deliver. They can know to the half ton what they can put in terms of a feed delivery in what bins on what sites. And if they've got overflow orders or extra partial orders, they can look into the computer and see exactly where they can place those without calling around and guessing. Those types of precisions are the way that we can dial down costs for animal feed, which is one of the most expensive costs in animal production today.
Very good. Thank you so much. If you'd like more information about some of the topics that Ben talked about here today and the technology, please visit www.bincentury.com. Thank you so much, Ben, and thanks to you for tuning in.
Thank you, Jackie.